Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. So today we have another experiment for you guys, and of course that is more fun with custom turret controllers. Alright, so today what we want to do is to explore more things that we can use with the custom turret controller. Most of these you could have already done with scripts, but since we have this new aspect of Space Engineers, we don't need scripts to do a lot of things now. We don't need to use scripts to move rotors and hinges with our mouse anymore, at least for the most part. So what else can you do with custom turret controllers? Well, here's a few quick little things. First, we can do a quick little catapult-like system using the mouse to kind of throw stuff if you like. So here's an example. We have a little bit of a square there, or cube in there, and a little bucket that I created, and we can easily maneuver by hitting the control action of the custom turret controller. And you'll see if I move this either up and down or left and right, depending the way you set it up, you can swing this guy pretty easily. So if you want to fling this, we can just do that, as you see there. And we can fly a cube pretty far by doing so, and it's pretty fun to do. So you can make some pretty fun catapults this way by using a mouse to control it, so you can fling things at your own kind of speed. If you're really interested in it, this is the options, or this is what I set up for this one single rotor on here. I have it swinging left and right, so I assigned it to the azimuth rotor. But if you want up and down, obviously you just put in elevation. I did the velocity multiplier by 30, so it goes faster. So that's a fun little thing to do if you're bored like me and found a fun little way to kind of mess around with new things with the custom turret controller. And I'm trying to break the platform with this, but it seems like it's not letting me. So that's an interesting thing to note as well. Another quick little thing that you can do is actually set up a solar panel system where you can actually track the sunlight manually. You can still do it manually before by moving the hinges and rotors in the controls, but now we can do it all by mouse. So you can just pretty much control into it and follow the sun. So the sun is right over there, so we can easily move left and right, up and down for our solar panel. So that's one fun little quick thing to do as well. Bit of a quick tip, if anything, but this becomes useful if you're not using any scripts and you don't want to control each parts manually, like say rotate this by a certain degrees and rotate the hinge by certain degrees as well, or up and down at least. So those are two quick things you could do with the custom turret controller. Two simple things, I would think. So what else can you do? I designed two random rovers, one being with a bit of a rotating wheel here, which is on a rotor. So what the plan here was to kind of drive with the custom turret controller if possible, but of course it's unnecessary because we could just easily drive it this way. As you see, I can turn left, right, go forward and backwards. But if I go into the controls, I can no longer do any of that, but I can control the front rotor as you see there. And I was hoping to be able to move this whole rover by just keep going up or down or left or right, depending on how you want to build it or schedule it or set it up in the custom turret controller. But as you see here, it does kind of work. So if I have enough space on my mouse pad, I can just scroll this guy all the way to the left or right or up and down, depending on where you want to go. Yes, we can make the wheels a little bit less of a height offset, so it touches the ground a little bit more, or lower the strength. But you see here, this is kind of the almost the best way to do it, or the height I currently have it, and I'm able to drive with it. I can't turn left and right though, so that's a bit of an issue to this. But this is just a random kind of thing I just thought about doing. Maybe it'll spark some kind of idea for somebody else, but at least you can kind of go forward and backwards like this. It's ridiculous, but just some random thing I thought about doing. So if you're interested, the custom turret controller is set up this way, where the rotor is on the elevation because it's sideways. You can rotate in the vertical plane, and then you can change the velocity multiplier as well. I have this at 60. You can change it to whatever you want, and that's pretty much it. So that's how I'm able to go up or down just to get some of that speed. Maybe this should fit better in the back because it seems like going reverse on this thing looks a lot better than going forward. But that's probably because I'm on a hill as well. So that's a bit ridiculous, but it was something fun to just play around with. The second rover is actually building a bit of a steering in the front. So obviously you don't need to do that because you can already go forward, backwards, left, right, and turn, as you see here. So that's not a big deal. So I added the front just to give us a bit of a turning system. Again, it probably helps to spark an idea for somebody, but this is just something random I'm just playing around with, and I wanted to show you guys as well. So if I control into this custom turret controller, you'll see that I can maneuver the front wheels left and right. But when you control into it, we can no longer move forward and backwards on the rover itself. So what I did here is add a couple timer blocks to maneuver the left and right wheels to do propulsion override and decrease the overrides in that sense. So that way we can go forward, stop, and then backwards and stop in that kind of way. So this was a test to see if we could actually use this to turn. And guess what? You could kind of use it to turn. It's not terrible. It works. But of course not ideal. But it is something you can play around with to kind of wiggle it around and drive that way. Which is, again, 100% unnecessary. Why? You could put a gyroscope and do the same thing and move the whole thing without moving any of the wheels. But if you want to get a bit of a visual sense of the whole entire thing turning, maybe you could do it this way. Highly doubt you would want to do it this way, because once you control the custom turret controller, you can no longer do any other functions like going forward and backwards with this rover anymore, unless you do the propulsion override. So that's the not so fun part about this. But let's get into the fun part of this whole experiment. Right, so the fun part about this specific experiment was to create certain types of drones that follow you with the custom turret controller without any scripts. And that's what I've got here with us. We have a bit of a flyer here, a ship. It has the antenna, custom controller, turret controller, a gyroscope, lots of thrusters. And here is the custom turret controller rotor that we're going to use, a camera, and a direction. It also has a remote control. So this is a bit of a two-parter, and I'm going to show you exactly what this is going to look like. But right now it is on autopilot, collision avoidance, and precision mode, and it's using the waypoints 11 and 12 to patrol on. So that's why we got the height here. So how do we make this follow you? Well, we're going to turn on the custom turret controller to tell this rotor and camera to point at a character and do a thruster override when you're seeing the character or when the character is being tracked, and then turn it off when it's not being tracked, so it can slow down a little bit faster that way. And also, if it's not tracking anybody, it'll just, you know, kind of kill the speed there. We could probably leave it on, but we kind of just left it as that. So what we're going to do here, we already have remote control on as autopilot. I'm going to turn the AI on for this. And the reason why it's got this height is because it's patrolling 11 and 12, the waypoints, or trying to at least. Alright, so here we go. We're going to turn on the AI in 3, 2, 1. And now with the camera, it's going to follow me. So as you see here, it's coming towards me. And it just hit me, actually. And then it's going to fly away a little bit. But then it's going to try its best to come back. And then fly towards me again. So right now it acts a little funky sometimes because if you're too low and it can't track you, it's not going to come towards you. But right now it's pretty high up, so it's kind of ignoring the patrol point or the GPS pointer of 11 and 12, which is right over, where is that? Right there. So it's supposed to be this high and not that high. So it does glitch out a little bit, but then if you go low enough, it might follow you. I hope it doesn't crash, but that's a possibility. So it can follow you to a certain point. It's not the best, as you see here, but it kind of works. So if I fly high enough to match the camera height, you'll see that it's flying towards me and it's going to kind of circle me based on, you know, the way it's locking in. And it's slowly falling down now for whatever reasons, but eventually it might just fall down to kind of catch up to the waypoints. But that is one quick way to do it without any scripts, for it to kind of follow you in some ways. So if you're in the correct height, let's just say right around here, and I go this far away, it will eventually come towards me, as you see here. Right there. So that's an interesting way to get a drone to follow you if you want to do it that way. Does it work that great? Absolutely not, but it's a start. You could probably make it work a little bit better. And if I hit to the ground, there's a chance, and it had done it before, it actually dropped down at one point, and then it was able to follow me on the ground. It was just grinding off the ground, but I think it might just fly away at this point. Maybe. So while it does that, let's go check out the next thing that I created. Right, so the next one is going to be a rover style drone system. And this is going to have the same kind of aspect as what we did with the ship. That's pretty far away now. And this one is going to glide on the floor because there's minimal friction on the ground, as you see here. And that's why the tires aren't moving too much. And it's just gliding, and it's following me as much as it can. As you see, the camera's following me through the custom turret controller. And it just keeps coming towards me, same way as the ship, where you have the thruster on override. And at this time, I did indicate or added a hinge system where the camera is. So if I'm high up, it can still follow me. And as you see here, it just twisted and turned, and it's just gonna go up, pretty much move back and forth here as it's following me with its override thrusting and everything like that too. And if I go sideways to it, it's gonna work fine too. It has minimal friction. It's not zero friction, but if you put zero friction, it's gonna work a little bit better. I just didn't want to do that. But as you see here, it's just slowly coming towards me regardless, and that's because of the thruster override. So this one, the ground one, works a lot better than the ship one, to be honest. And yeah, that thing's gone, basically. But this one, we could be pretty far away. I think 600 meters, roughly, like right around here. Like even at 300, you see it's trying to tail me. It's trying to come closer. And if I'm not in creative mode, it probably is going to run me over as well. So as you see here, it's going pretty far away for whatever reasons, but it should come back eventually. But it probably got kind of twisted up in the tracking. There we go. That was kind of odd, but yeah, I think it got twisted up in the tracking. So it didn't want to track anymore for whatever reasons, but it does track fairly well in most cases. Then let me see here. The tracking is 600 meters. Yeah. So it just kind of glitched out a little bit. It's not the best, but it works okay. It's not terrible. So if we did do all the wheels to be frictionless, it'll be so much smoother when it comes to being sideways. So right now I kind of trapping it so it's not getting towards me or tracking me. So you can fix that this way here. See, as you see here, it is flying. Not literally, but speed-wise, because of the frictionless wheels. And it just bounced like 100 meters away almost. And then it's going to come closer to me again and keep tracking me in this way, right there. So that's a nifty, fun thing to do, to have these things follow you. Again, it's not the best, but it's doable. And this is all scriptless as well. So you can make multiple of these, and they might collide, but you can have them all kind of follow you eventually if it doesn't glitches out. And you see here, I have like a little bit of army or some friends, and just hopefully they don't run you over and kill you, but at least you have some fun little AIs to kind of play around and follow you as you roam about in the world. So they kind of don't stop in some ways, but they'll circle you. I guess if you put some turrets around you or on them, it makes it even better, because you could use these as offensive drones and have them surround you while you're moving about, and have it kind of shoot any enemies that come near you. And of course, you can leave them on the ground and fly up if you have a ship and let them follow you that way. That also works too. But of course, if it flies over a mountain or something like that, like this, there's a chance that they're gonna pretty much fly a little too high up and flip around and kind of crash. But you'll see them right there. Yeah, one there, one there. I think I lost one somehow. Nope. Right there. Hopefully it could track me. And I may have lost the tracking of that one. Oh no, it's coming back. Kind of. Yep, it found me. As you see here, the Rover version one with no friction works a lot better. So this is pretty fun. The ship one works okay. It's not terrible, but it does need the autopilot just to bring it up higher, because there's no way to kind of tell the thrusters to kind of fly up without overriding it. But if you override it, it might just fly to space. So that's another problem. I did, however, try with hover engines, with the hover engine mod, and that looked a little bit promising. However, it flipped over for whatever reasons, and I'm not sure why. It could have been the thrusting override. I think I have to put it somewhere a little bit lower if necessary, so that it doesn't kind of do the thrust override and tilt it over too much. And you see here, we just lost one of the drones because it flipped over. But we have the other one, and that one's like speeding through. It's just flying through this desert, this Mars desert here. And I probably lost the other one too. But you can put a whole bunch of these guys here, as I'm going to do right now. And all they're going to do is just follow me around, if anything. So we have a bit of an army of rovers. And again, imagine putting a bunch of weapons on these guys. What that's going to be like. With some turrets, autocannons, maybe even some railguns, things like that. And we're going to make some pretty crazy weaponized drones in that sense. I could probably come up with a few new other fun things to do with the custom turret controllers, but these were the few that I was just playing around with, experimenting with, and maybe spark some fun ideas for you guys to kind of try out as well. So if it did, please share it down in the comments below. Of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.